So now I'm going to do a few pieces from these books. The first piece that I'm going to do, the first couple of pieces I'm going to do are all about dreams. And I know when I first started writing, I already had my master's degree. And I started waiting tables so I could focus on my writing. And people were like, what are you doing? You know, you have a master's degree. So there were people, you know, that thought I was a little crazy, you know, or a little out there. And sometimes, you know, that happens when God gives you a plan or gives you a vision. And there are other people may not see it right away. So they might think you're crazy. They might think you're a little off. You know, even in this day and age, just being a Christian, some people think that we're crazy. So, you know, that's what the first piece that I'm going to do. And then the piece after that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the dreams. So the first piece I want to do for y'all is called Infinite Possibilities. Infinite Possibilities. The failure to define me. There is a failure to define me. Let them call me crazy if crazy allows me to be everything that my faith qualifies. I see places beyond my brief imagination. Open your mind to gather God's wonders. And let them call me crazy if crazy leads me to find happiness where others fail to look. The weak seed cannot grow the potential without a different way of loving it. And let them call me crazy if I get a little angry sometimes, that my goals are reachable, that I have not attained them, that I don't measure up to my own worth. And I would rather die trying than to live settling for the world's offer. Understand the absoluteness of God. And let them call me crazy if they cannot comprehend this place that I've actualized, my own world centered around God. Thirsty I searched, and undeniably I found. Fathom my testimony. And let them call me crazy if crazy allows me to call on God endlessly and without shame. Now, more often to praise him when I call his name. God is the same in trouble and in joy, and I am justified. Because of him, explore my infinite possibilities.
Amen, 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 amen. Amen.
And the next piece continues on with the dream theme. It's actually the title of the book, Candie Dreams. Candie Dreams. I'm not talking about average dreams made by average beings with underdeveloped thoughts, because so far in their life, they ain't been seeing what God meant them to see. I'm not talking about everyday dreams with everyday ends or everyday means, although they involve everyday people and everyday things. I'm talking about, because I'm experiencing, dreams so overwhelming, I can hardly sleep at night, and am constantly lost in them, in both sun and moonlight. Dreams so right here, I can capture their taste, and dreams so beckoning, I can't turn away. Dreams so absolute, no other options remain. Dreams so powerful, they often lead the way. Dreams so full of flavor, they have their own demands. And dreams so purely joyful, they couldn't have come from man. Dreams nurtured way down deep in my ambitious heart. Dreams so spirit-filled, they never seem to run out. Dreams so soul-changing, dreams so specifically planted, God never would have put them there without a path to catch them. All right. Okay. So, you know, that sounds great. I'm just like, woo, life, yay, dreams. You know, everything's going great. But then, you know, as we all know, with life, tragedy sometimes happens. And I tell you, one of the most devastating thing that has ever happened to me, it happened back in 2001. And I think y'all all know what I'm talking about, the loss of my brother. And the piece that I'm about to do for y'all is actually a piece about a dream that I had after he died. And this was probably the first time I'd woken up in months with a smile on my face. So this piece is called In Torian's Light. It was a beautiful day for a wedding. One of the most special days indeed. But sadly, this matrimony only exists in my dreams. It is of my 18-year-old brother, and such a good brother was he. His smile, his manner, his charm, so many things he led me to see. It was to be the brightest day of his life, the proud, honored groom. But it was shadowed by the truth. He was to die much too soon. I was angry in my dream, trying to perfect the day, but no one seemed to care. They did what they wanted anyway. I fumed and I shouted, and I stomped all over the place. How could they take this so lightly, his last important day? As I felt I was getting fed up, and I just couldn't take any more, I noticed my brother laughing, and harder than ever before. I wondered what was so funny, and how could you be so calm? He said, sister, don't be angry. I'm just laughing at you in love. Don't worry over the ideal or fret not having your way. Heaven lasts forever. We can do this again someday. Was it
All right.
Thank you. Okay, and so now this next piece I'm going to take you to a dark place, but just only for a moment. And the reason why I do this in my books is because sometimes if you haven't been there, you don't know what it's like. And if you don't know, how can you help someone else? And then sometimes if you have been there, it's comfort just to know that there are other people who have been there too, that you're not alone. Because my philosophy is I feel like the devil, he finds ground in our silence. When we don't testify and say, hey, this is what he brought me out of, because we don't want to talk about the it that he brought us out of, then somebody else doesn't get to benefit from that testimony. So, and I tell you, this is not my favorite piece. It probably took me a long time to actually write this piece, you know, from beginning to end. It probably took a couple of years, you know, because it was just, but anyway, the heart sobber. The last time I smoked that was a silly attempt to forget the list of things that happened to me that caused me to not want to believe, that caused me to want to give up hope and ignore the call of my dreams. I let all I cared for slide through life's seams. An attempt to deny the pains that were overtaking my heart. An attempt to elicit more strength when mine had run out. The rock made me an accomplice to my own self-destruction and had me surrendering to the world's cheap seductions. For those wooders and spliffs, they hardened my walls and made seem a bed of roses the darkness I crawled. That made ambition seem a naive and foolish pursuit. That made seem normal the tragedies I lived through. It had me feeling, truly believing that love was never meant to last. And in this earthly world, I was a useless outcast. I used the rock as a block to mask my terrible sadness, but its numbing effects only exacerbated my madness. The last time I smoked that was a silly attempt to forget the list of things that happened to me that caused me to think I had no reasons to breathe. That was the hot stuff. And so you would wonder, you know, why was that my coping mechanism, you know? And there's a lot of reasons why. But I would say one of the main reasons, and I realized this, you know, along the way as I was getting myself back together, is, you know, I was angry with the Lord. And I remember the night, you know, of being close to the place where I was about to fall on the addiction side and just being angry at him and being like, well, since you're not going to bring my brother back, well, this is what I'm going to go ahead and do.